Have you ever thought about writing a book about your grief journey? Hi, I'm Gary, the grief guy Sturgis, the creator of Surviving Grief and the author of Surviving, Finding a Way from Grief to Healing. I get so many emails from people that have lost a loved one and tell me they want to write about their experience with grief and loss. So if you've thought about doing that, this video is for you. So why is writing about your experience so important? The reason I wrote my book was to help other people, but it also helped me in the grieving process. I often don't know what I think or feel until I write it out, and knowing and verbalizing how you feel can also be an important part of breaking negative thought patterns. Writing about our grief allows us to share with others in a more vulnerable way than we may be comfortable doing in person. Writing lets you regain some control, not of the ultimate outcome, but of the tsunami of emotions coming your way. With pen in hand, you own your narrative. It's not the story you choose to write, but you do get to decide how to express it. Writing a book is a big task, especially when you're grieving, but that doesn't mean it can't be done. Grief books sell to the extent that they say something people need to hear. People read books about grief to be validated. The people who read my book, Surviving, are people who can't find answers in platitudes and easy solutions, or in any of the current theories about grief. What I've gone through and what I've learned along the way helps them validate their own feelings. They know what they're feeling is true, but they can't find validation for their feelings because a lot of people that haven't lost a loved one, like a spouse, child, parent, or even a pet, don't understand. I wrote my book to let people know that I do. Until you know about grief, have studied it from the inside and outside, have done a ton of research, you really can't write a self-help book. So that leaves you with writing a memoir or story about your own experience with grief. Anyone can write about their grief, and I encourage you to do so. Write your story, but for yourself, not with any idea of making money. Honestly, a very small percentage of people who write make any money, certainly not enough to live on. But writing your grief helps you deal with it, helps you learn how to cope with a future without your loved one. So where do you start? Think about what you want your book to be about and who your reader will be. If you lost a child, maybe your book will be about child loss, or a spouse, or even a pet. Know your audience and what it is you want to achieve with your book, and then start writing it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Do a first draft and worry about editing it later. Decide who's going to publish your book. You have two choices. You can go the traditional route. Traditional publishers take all the risks. They pay for everything from editing, proofreading, typesetting, printing, binding, cover art, design, promotion, advertising, warehousing, shipping, billing, and paying your author royalties. Or, easier, self-publish it. Everything is on you. You're the publisher, the financer, and the decision maker. Everything in the traditional way that I just talked to you about falls on you. You decide who does it, you approve it or reject it, and you pay for it. The term self-publishing is a bit of a misnomer because what you're paying for is not publishing, but actually just the printing. Both avenues are great options under certain circumstances, but here's some things to think about. There are thousands of books out there on grief and loss. Know your niche. Make your book stand out. Make it as unique as you. What does your story have to offer that will help someone else? What will make someone want to read it? Some people spend crazy amounts of money hiring boutique publishers. These people are more than happy to take your money and publish your book and even market it. But unless you sell a lot of copies, you may not even get your money back. It's better to put the effort in on your own. There are a lot of really bad publishers out there, but there are also some really good ones too. I'm one of the top selling authors for my publisher, booklocker.com, but they only published and printed my books. I did all the work after that. But I believe you only get out of the experience of writing a book what you actually put into it. If you can't decide what avenue you want to take to publish your book, I highly recommend booklocker.com because they don't charge a huge amount of money and make it really easy to get your book published within weeks. Other high-end publishers can take up to a year to get your book published. Nobody wants to wait that long. If you want more information on booklocker.com, I'll post it in the link in the comment section of this video. When I wrote my first book, Surviving, Finding Your Way from Grief to Healing, I was hoping that it would help people to realize they weren't alone, that what I went through, they also were going through, and that I survived. I never imagined that in the first year alone, it would sell over 5,000 copies. I get emails all the time from people around the world telling me that my book gave them hope after a devastating loss. But writing the book also helped me to process my own feelings after my own loss, and that was something I never expected to happen. So I encourage you to write your story, because even though you may not think so, your story matters, not only to you, but to others walking the same grief journey. If you haven't read my book, I hope that you will, because although I know my book will never win a Pulitzer Prize, I wrote it from my heart, and that seems to resonate with people. If you've thought about writing a book about your own grief journey, I'm here to help you. If you follow my Surviving Grief page on Facebook, you probably know that I'm always highlighting and promoting other authors that have written books about their grief experience, because I know that they're sharing their story from a place of compassion and trying to help other people. And I believe that when we help other people, we're healing our own heart as well. If you have any questions or comments about writing a book about your own personal grief experience and journey, feel free to email me at gary@sgrief.com, and I'll be more than happy to share with you what I've learned after writing 3 books of my own on grief and loss. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you'd like to watch more videos on grief-related topics and resources, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on Facebook at Surviving Grief, or visit my Surviving Grief website at www.sgrief.com. Thanks for watching, and remember, we're all just walking each other home.